Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Empowered Pros and Ponders podcast. If you're just joining us, my name is Lauren, and this is the first podcast episode of 2026. And instead of one guest, I'm kicking it off with two guests, Sara Wiles and Erin Leslie from the Start and Grow Company. Welcome, ladies. I'm so excited to have you.
Hi, thank you for
Hi.
having us.
You bet. Thanks for making the time. I know that both of you have been super busy, so I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedules to come on here and talk about the Start and Grow. The Start and Grow was started by Sara, and we're going to talk about that this episode. But before we do, Sara, I know you're a Taylor Swift fan, so I want to show you this. My sister
Oh
gave this to me for Christmas in 2024. After we went to the Eras tour, my family has a tradition where we make Christmas gifts for each other. So she didn't actually make the heart hands figurine, but she bought it somewhere, and then she put all of my bracelets on from the that I got from the tour.
Mm,
oh, what a sweet gift. That's so beautiful. I love that. And I love the idea of doing homemade gifts. I feel like we need to
Yeah,
go back there and do that this year because,
yeah,
those are really the best gifts anyway.
they really are. Um, what is it about Taylor that speaks to you so much, Sara? Like
I mean,
besides
I
her
feel like
amazing music?
yeah. I mean, I love I think what's really cool is you can take one of her songs and kind of make your own meaning with it. And I think you can take something and like vigilante, I won't say the word, but you know what the word is after that.
I do.
Like that's a really good example because there's so many people that have inserted their own, villain or whatever it is into that. And then that song
Yeah.
gets to mean something for everyone. So,
Yeah.
um, I feel like that. And I also have just really enjoyed watching her, change over time. All of the eras that she's been into, I feel like is so, honest for women, but we don't get to see that so often in the public eye when women change who they are as they age. And I think that's been really cool too.
Yes, that's so true, and it's so wonderful. Like I grew up with Taylor's music from like my sister started listening to it when we were teenagers, and she got me hooked on it, and then my
Mm.
parents got hooked on it. And yeah, it's just been absolutely amazing to like see how she stays true to herself like through all the different eras that she's created. Um, what's your favorite era, would you say?
Okay. I am a big fan of the song Lavender Haze. And when I went to the concert in October of 2024, I got a lavender skirt. So I think that's probably my favorite era just because I don't know. And that album was so fun.
Yeah.
I think that one's my favorite. How about you?
My favorite is the Reputation era. Like that's what
Mm.
I went dressed as for the Eras tour because it kind of felt like at that point in my life it felt like the soundtrack just spoke to me, and like how can you not love the songs on the Reputation album? Like there's Don't Blame Me, there's Look What You Made Me Do, there's Ready for It, like there's like power ballads, there's sensuality, there's like kind of revenge songs, and it's awesome.
I love
So
that.
yeah, that's my absolute favorite. Although I do love Fearless and Speak Now too. Like those are two really great
Mm.
albums, and it those like speak to the inner teenager in me. So
Oh, yes. And I love that like there's a place where that can still exist?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Erin, are you a Swiftie?
I like Taylor Swift a lot. I wouldn't say I'm not a fangirl in the way that some people are a fangirl. I definitely like was around when she first came out, but was like just a little bit older enough that didn't get like totally swept away in it. So definitely appreciate her, appreciate what she stands for, love her music, but I am not like the epitome of Swiftie fandom, if you will. I am
Fair
like
enough.
forever and always like a 90s music girly. I just can't like I just love
Yeah.
that decade of music and can't quite like find the same level of like appreciation for anything that's comes in, you know? And I like so many different genres of music and listen to like all the things. So it's always really hard for me to like land hard in like one space when it comes to that. I'm sort of all over the
Yeah.
place.
Fair enough. I'm actually the same way. Like I'm a 90s baby and there's songs from that time that I absolutely love. And then there's
Hmm.
songs where I'm kind of like I can take it or leave it. Like
Yeah, yeah,
and
for
then there
sure.
are songs that I just don't like at all. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's funny how music like kind of like goes in different directions and
Mhm.
how as you get older you like start to listen to more like more
Mhm.
genres. Like when I started pole dancing, like I start suddenly it like opened up a whole new world of music for me because I was listening
Mhm.
to like stuff that my pole dancing friends recommended. I would like watch videos on YouTube say where like different songs would be playing and I'm like, "Oh, I really like this. This is really good."
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yeah, the genres that I still can't handle really are heavy metal and rap. Like I just
Mm.
can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah.
I can get down with rap. The heavy metal for me, it's like a response in my body thing, not a like I don't love it thing. It's like the like my nervous system. I'm too sensitive or like fragile my nervous system, I think, when it comes to like that intensity. So
Yeah,
yeah, I get it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so Erin, I know that you're a Gilmore Girls fan. You named your daughter after Lorelai.
I
So
did.
my question for you is, are you Team Dean, Team Jess, or Team Logan, or are you Team Rory?
Ooh, that's such a tough one. I mean, obviously, if I'm choosing between them, I'm Team Rory for sure.
Yeah,
I like all of her boyfriends for different reasons.
yeah,
I think if I had to choose, this is going to be super controversial, but I think I'd have to say Logan. Only because I love Jess and he was amazing and he was a good fit, but he treated her terribly for the
he
most part,
did.
most of the time. And so that is sort of my caveat there. And like Dean annoys me to no end and like definitely is not my favorite. But as far as first boyfriends go, I think he was a really solid first boyfriend. He treated her really
Mhm.
well and was very kind. And as a mother, I'm like, if that were the case, like I would be happy with that. So I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you're being controversial, then I'm going to be controversial right there with you because T Logan is my favorite boyfriend too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think she was older in that relationship. You
Mhm.
know, it had some problems, but like especially in like Year in the Life when they kind of revisited, like those are some of my favorite. And I just loved and appreciated it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, before we
So,
move on though, fun Gilmore
yeah,
Girls trivia fact, because I bet you don't know this. Do you know
I
that
probably
Sarah's cousin is Paris from the show?
what?
Sorry,
Liza
Sarah.
Whale is your cousin, Sarah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. That is
Yeah.
Mhm.
so cool and crazy. That was not what I was expecting you to say at all. That's amazing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she
Fun
is
fact.
my dad's brother's daughter, and
Okay.
the family resemblance is strong. Like if I showed you a picture of my dad and then a picture of Liza, you would be like, "Whoa." Yeah. So yeah, she's my first cousin.
Crazy,
Wow,
crazy.
that's
I did not find that out
amazing.
until I mean, obviously, like met Sarah way after being a Gilmore Girls fan, but I was like,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Wow. We've got all the fun in this episode, you guys. That's
I
awesome.
know, I know. Yeah, it's my only claim to fame. So, and she's a good one. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch Gilmore Girls now
Yeah.
again. It
Yeah.
took me like a year and a half to finish the whole series.
I
Oh,
bet.
yeah.
I mean, it's long. Yeah.
It is. There's 7 seasons.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get down to business. Sarah, I know your story from like the team coaching calls and um like other meetings, but what was your main inspiration for the Start and Grow, and how did you enter the virtual assistant world?
Yeah, so my background was in corporate event planning, and I did that right out of college and for 8 years. And then I had a baby. And traveling for 10 days at a time, wasn't really something that made sense for my life anymore. And I worked for a company that was run by a man who was not very understanding of what motherhood, looks like for women. And I had been just kind of waffling and trying to find my footing again and figure out, if this career that I thought was going to be my career for my whole life is not going to be my career for my whole life, what am I doing and what am I supposed to, what is my work here? And a friend had told me about the virtual assisting space. And so I started as a VA in 2017,
Mhm.
grew that to a team of 8, and then realized that I really wanted to get into the teaching and training side of that work. And so our course, The Start, which teaches VAs how to start their virtual assisting business, was born in 2019. And that's what we've been doing ever since.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Like that's so great that you realized that the career that you had wasn't in line with your life anymore. And like that can be like very freeing, but it can also be very scary because like you said, it's like what am I doing and what am I going to do next? But um yeah, like when you're a mother, like you can have a career, but you also have to like learn how to balance that with like family and friends. So I
Yeah.
totally respect you for realizing that your career as an event planner didn't uh mesh anymore. And like
Yeah.
well done to you for finding something not is that not only fulfilled you, but also like allowed you to teach others and like show them
Mm,
that there's other work like outside of the traditional 9 to 5 jobs.
yeah.
Um, so while you were a corporate event planner, what kind of events did you plan?
So we planned mostly large conferences. So we did 2 large conferences a year that were up to 5,000 people. And I was on the production team for those. Yeah, they were big. In places like Orlando and Las Vegas and Dallas
Mhm.
and DC. And then we would also do some smaller events too. So I had an incentive trip for a company, and about 20 to 30 people would go to Maui every year, and I had to go with them. And so, that was really, really cool. Again, until, travel was really hard. But, I
Yeah.
did get to see a lot of really cool places and stay at a lot of really cool hotels. And when you're
Mhm.
the event planner, the hotels tend to treat you very nicely. So they would send, champagne to my room and upgrade me to a fancy suite. And that part of it was really freaking cool. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It had its perks.
Amen. Like it absolutely had its perks until, the sacrifice really outweighed those perks at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's at that moment where you have to say, okay, this isn't working anymore. I need to walk away.
Yeah.
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 So, how many people have taken your course, The Start, and started their own VA businesses? And can you tell our listeners and viewers what The Start is and its importance in the VA business?
Yeah, so I think our new numbers, we have trained over 1,800 VAs in the past 6 years, which is pretty freaking cool, and we feel really proud of that. Not just
Mm,
because there's a number that we can say, 1,800 is a whole lot of people, but we're also really proud of how we show up in this industry and the way that we do things. We've spent 6 years figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and tweaking and testing, not just so we can get really good at selling a program, but also so that we can be really good at helping people to start these businesses. Because, on the other side of 1,800, those are names and people and families, and those are right. Like it's really important to us not to just pay attention to the big numbers, but also the impact that we can make on people's individual lives, which sounds really stupid and cheesy and corny sometimes, but it's true. Um, So yeah, and I think, we have stayed intentionally small over the years. There are lots of bigger names in the space. There are also lots of names that have come and gone over the years, but we really feel like we offer something that feels a whole lot more boutique and smaller. And so we're really right for the type of person who wants more support, wants more handholding, and really wants to be treated like a human being,
Hmm.
and acknowledged for whatever brought them to this space. Because,
Yeah.
people really don't come to starting a VA business because things are going perfectly and their job is
Hmm.
great and everything is easy. They come here because something isn't working. And a lot of times
Yeah.
it's flexibility, if they are a parent or a caregiver, or it's because they're working in a job that is, not valuing who they are as a human. And
Hmm.
so I think part of what we do is want to honor those people and those stories in what we do. And
Yes.
yeah, we feel really proud of that. We're not perfect by any means. We've certainly gotten it wrong over the years, but I think that's something that we do really well is just keeping the human beings, really centered in our process.
Yeah. And that's so wonderful. Like I totally agree. Like there's a lot of jobs out there who do not value people as human beings. They value them as like
Labor.
employees. Labor. Yes, exactly. And um like like to take a line from Coach Beard on Ted Lasso. I don't know if you guys have seen that show.
Mhm.
You
Of
have?
course.
Okay.
Of
Uh,
course.
yeah.
Love
But
Coach Beard.
yeah, he's
Mm.
awesome. He's so funny. But he says in the last episode that perfection is overrated and boring, and that human beings aren't meant to be perfect. Like we're meant to be
Mm,
flawed, and we're meant to be um like not one singular thing, but like a whole bunch of things. And
mm,
um like the reason that I was drawn to the Start and Grow was because I hadn't had a job, like steady income for 3 years.
mm,
And I was just like, okay, I've applied for over probably like 500 jobs at least in the last 3 years. And I just wasn't getting anything. Like I would get like interviews and they would go super well. And I would get really, really close to getting the job. And then I just wouldn't get it. Like they would go with somebody else. And I finally decided, okay, I knew like from like 2024 that you guys had the Start and Grow, and then I got an email from your team saying that you were offering the Start again last summer, and I just thought, okay, this is like a sign. I'm gonna go for it and see what happens. And lo and behold, here we are. I've started my business. I got my first client in December on December 1st. That was a really good way to start off the holidays.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
incredible.
I've been in touch with like other people like through your matchmaking service that I've been matched with, and just like uh building relationships with them. And um oops, sorry, I had to plug my computer in.
Oh, where
um
I do that all the time.
Real life, real life.
yeah, real life. But yeah, just like I feel like I was meant to go in this direction and like find like the source and you guys, because your values align so closely with my own. Like I believe in treating people decently. I believe in treating them as human beings. And I believe in authenticity too. And like recognizing and respecting people for who they are and not for like the what I want them to be.
Mhm.
Oh, I love how you said that. Can you say that
Thanks.
again?
I can try. I can try.
I hate people do
Uh,
that to me too, and I'm like, girl, the second it comes out of my mouth, I don't even remember what I said. But
No, it's
that was I really liked that. If you could remember what you said.
yeah. Uh, well, when I go back when I like read through the transcripts for this, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what I said.
That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Uh, yeah. Erin, how did you learn about the Start and Grow and become involved? Like you're the head support coach.
Yeah. Yeah. So in 2018, I had a similar experience as Sarah. Like I had a job that was great and I loved it. The benefits were incredible. And there were parts about it that were really difficult and hard and were really wearing on me. I had a younger kiddo, and every day, in some sense, felt a little bit like Groundhog's Day. I would get up, I would go to work, take her
Mhm.
to school and do all the things, balancing all the things. The job was really demanding. It was a lot of stress. And, I would come home and do dinner and put her to bed and get up and do it the next day. And like any spare time was spent just like decompressing or like doing chores. And it just felt really untenable and unsustainable to me. And I was dealing with some health stuff. And I just was like, this is like, I feel ancient. Like I am too young to like be
Mhm.
in this space where I'm just like nothing is wrong, but I'm so dissatisfied with how this is all going right now. And I feel like I'm not doing any of the things well. Like I don't feel like I'm mothering well. I don't feel like I'm, being a good partner. I don't feel like I'm like showing up fully for my job all the time. And it was constantly just like the balancing of plates. And so I was looking for like, okay, what else can I potentially do with my skills and all of these things?
Mhm.
I had a friend who was a lawyer and had started like life coaching in conjunction with her law practice. And
Mhm.
she was in a Facebook group where somehow she was connected to Sarah, and Sarah had made a post about how she was, teaching folks how to like get into this. And my friend was like, hey, do you know that virtual assisting is a thing that you could do? I think you would be great at it. Like, I know you've been kind of like, exploring your options. And I was like, come again? What are you talking about? Because back in, like early 2018, like nobody
Mhm.
knew what that was or what that meant. And so through this friend, I got connected to Sarah. She had just started kind of transitioning from having her business to like doing the teaching and training. And so I worked with her, and I had this whole like 6 to 12 month plan to get my business off the ground. And, I'm a planner. I like to kind of like figure things out and like for things to go according to plan. And this was one of those things where it was like, I kind of raised my hand and was like, I'm kind of interested in this. And then was just like inundated with, folks who were like, oh my gosh, I need that. And so my
Yeah.
business took off like much more quickly than I had anticipated. And, I sort of got to this place where I was like, okay, I can do both things for like a little bit, but I can't do both things forever, right? And so I have to
Mhm.
decide either I'm going to take the leap and go all in on this business and believe in myself and, do the scary thing and trust, or
Yeah.
like I'm gonna take it slower and that's fine. But like I had a choice to make, and I, dove in head first. I talked to my husband and was like, it's maybe rocky for a minute, like while we get this figured out. But I think like if I can commit myself to this, it's gonna work because, I've already seen some of the proof of that. And so we did it, and it continues to be one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Obviously, like if you've met Sarah, you know her, you love her. Being, connected to her is just the best thing ever. And so it was a
Mhm.
no-brainer for me to, hop into the source when that community was created. And the rest is kind of history. Like um, I love this company. I love what we do. I love the students and members that we attract. It's the best thing ever. It is often one of the most fun and amazing things that I get to do in my day is just support and interact with the folks who are in
Mhm.
our communities. And I just appreciate and love it so much. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Erin. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Mhm.
Um, it can be really scary to like go off the beaten path and like take a chance on yourself and like put put yourself out there, but like thank goodness you did because if you hadn't, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like truly though, not only like would I not know Erin, but and I think that this is so important for anybody that's listening to hear too. It's really easy to look at the success of our company and look at it through a lens of I lead it, but nothing is possible on our team without our team. And Erin has been
Yes.
there since I mean, truly, 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 she
Mhm.
has been a support coach on our team since 2021. And so she has been there and she has truly led the charge and held my hand through this whole process as well. So, you
Mhm.
know, as much as like I am just so happy to have connected with Erin because I love who she is as a human being, where this
Mhm.
company is today is not possible without Erin being in the role that she is. And so I just want to make sure that is known and heard. Yeah, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're so
Giving
kind.
her
I love you too. I know people see us in our interactions, and I'm like, it's real, y'all. Like, who you see on the screen is who you get. Like, this is
yes.
legitimately who we are. We don't know any other way to be. And we genuinely, genuinely, genuinely like each other and like working together so much. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of times people are like, oh, like you guys are cute on the call. But I'm like, no, we're just like this all the time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of mutual
What we
love.
always say too is like, we just wish everybody got to work like this. And it's not that like
Yeah,
things are absolutely perfect, right? But like we're all a
totally.
team that we have the same or very similar values and we all believe in treating each other with respect and kindness and dignity. And like,
Yes. Mhm.
you know, a lot of stuff is worked out already when everybody is approaching, you know, each other through that lens. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I wish everybody got to work like this. This is the way people should get to work with just shared kindness and respect across the board.
I totally agree, Sarah. And like that's something that is sadly lacking in today's world. And um, so I'm really grateful that there's like a company like the Start and Grow that like has those values and believes in treating people with respect and like kindness. Because like I've had jobs where I felt undervalued. Like I worked at a bar for up until the pandemic, and whether it was like not feeling respected by my coworkers or by patrons, I was just like, this isn't what I want to do forever. Like like I had my English degree, but and I was working at the bar to like figure out what I was gonna do. And then
Mhm.
so when the pandemic hit,
Mm.
it was kind of like it was a blessing in disguise. It really was because it gave me a chance to like get out of the job that I had been thinking about leaving for a while. And
Mm.
I decided to focus on writing full time. But what I didn't expect was how difficult it was to find a job in the writing world that was like
Mhm.
remote. And I didn't expect how competitive it was either. Like there was always
Mhm.
somebody who had more experience than I did. So
Mhm.
that was really tough. So I was really glad to learn from you, Erin, that I could use my skills of like blogging and copywriting as a virtual assistant. And I've also had people like look at me funny when I say virtual assistant, and I'm like, they're like, what is that? And I said, oh, it's like an independent contractor that businesses and companies hire to do like certain tasks for them so that they can focus
Mhm.
on their business. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And I was like, yep.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Thanks.
wild. Yep.
Yeah.
I know. It's a lot more people know now, but there's still like plenty of people out there who are like, wait, what? Tell me more? Like,
Yeah.
what are you
Yeah.
talking about? I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even my dad, like in the month that I've been doing this, like I've been telling him and my mom like what I'm doing for my client. And he said, okay, like one like just a couple of days ago, he said, okay, I have to ask, what's an Instagram carousel? And I was like, oh, it's like it's when there's like more than one slide in the post. And he said, oh, so it's like more than one image. And I said, yep, or more than one like a solid background with text on it, and then you can just like
Mhm.
slide through. And he's like, got it. And it's like, yeah, because he was a chemical engineer. He retired last year, and so like
Mhm.
what I'm doing is completely like
Foreign.
foreign.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally get it. I mean, listen, I've been doing this for nearly 8 years now, and my parents still have like no semblance. Like, as much as I tell them, or as much as people ask me, like, they probably could not describe what I do on the daily, I'm sure.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
the first like probably 5 years, I just told people who, like the people I didn't really want to, when you're like sitting at a
Explain
family
to.
function and it's, yeah, you don't really want to go into the whole thing. I would just tell them I was a social media manager because it was a much easier thing for them to understand. And then
Hmm.
our I had said that to our realtor at one point, and then he started reaching out to me with like, "Oh, I know this doctor who's looking for a social media manager." And I had to be like, "Oh, well, I actually don't do that.
Let me actually tell you.
I actually can't help you with that." But anyway, yeah, I get it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah, you kind of already answered this question, but I'm gonna ask it again
Yeah.
anyways. Can you tell us a bit more about the Start and Grow's mission and values? I tried to find the
Yeah.
document on my computer and I was like, where
Oh,
the heck did it go?
here, let me actually pull it because I have it on my wall over here. Hold on one second.
Okay, awesome. Hmm. That is quite the impressive bookcase behind you, Erin.
Yes. If people are watching, they can see. If you're listening, I'm a reader. I love to read. We moved into this house a couple of years ago, and one of my non-negotiables was I want an office that is my own and big enough for some bookshelves so I can have a library because in our other house, books were just stacked like all over
Yeah,
the place.
yeah.
And a bathtub that like a soaker tub that I can fit in because I'm very
Ooh.
tall and like enjoy. So those are my
Yeah.
two. I was like, I will do this whole like crazy build a house thing with you. But those are the things that I want. Because when the pandemic hit, my husband immediately went remote. And so we were in this tiny little room, like elbow to elbow, trying to work. I
Oh,
was like, I cannot, like, this,
yeah,
this does not work for me.
yeah.
hmm
Oh man. Yeah,
Um,
I'm a reader too, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, it took us a couple years to really take the time to put together a mission and a vision statement and our values. I wish we had done it sooner. I think it's one of those things that business owners look at and they're like, ah, those are just words on a page. And I think that they often are just words on a page. And that's kind of why the idea of them feels like it's been very diluted, because
Mhm.
for a lot of companies they are. They're just words and they don't actually live by them.
Yeah.
Um, and we toyed with this, and it took us quite a while to get to words that felt really honest. And I will also say, there are words here that we're still going to be tweaking with because you put them down and then you live out these values in your business, and then you go, hold on, I think we actually have to tweak that. So I will share our
Yeah.
current mission.
Okay. Yeah.
At the Start and Grow Co., our mission is to empower women to create financial stability while prioritizing their freedom, flexibility, and well-being. Through our programs, we work to dismantle systemic barriers that hold women back, such as the gender pay gap, the motherhood penalty, and limited access to entrepreneurial resources while advocating for financial equality.
Awesome.
Um, and then again, like our values have been so instrumental, especially in the last 2 years, where industries change so rapidly, our culture
Hmm.
changes rapidly. These really have been the anchors for us. And when we are making decisions, if we are having a hard time figuring out what the right choice is to make, we will often look back at our values and go, you know what? Our value, our number one value is kindness. And
Hmm.
so again, like that can very much read like it's just a word on a piece of paper or on a website somewhere, but we really do try to make sure that how we're showing up is infused into those words that we say that we are. So our
Yes.
values are kindness, generosity, simplicity. This has been like our war cry is like make it simple, keep it simple. We do not
Yeah.
have to recreate the wheel or add layers of complexity because, we think it's going to be great. It's usually the simpler the better.
Hmm.
Integrity and equity.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Can you tell us why you chose those values? Because there's a lot you could have chosen from.
Yes, we actually have them all written out because again, like, words, um, the meaning of words change over time, right? There's so many words that you can, Erin is probably a great person to actually have this conversation with since she's so well read. But like there are words that 200 years ago we used in very different ways. And then there are words that also exist in different, cultures and societies that have different meaning. And so we have our words, but then we also defined specifically what they mean to us. And so
Yeah.
they're all long sentences, so I'm not going to read them all, but maybe I'll just read one
Yeah,
to
go for
kind of
it.
give you an idea. So, generosity, and we wrote,
Hmm.
generosity fuels our actions. We give time, energy, knowledge, and resources to uplift others with no strings attached. This value drives our commitment to giving back through our reproductive justice contributions, scholarship programs, and the wealth of insights we share on social media. We believe in creating abundance for women, not just for ourselves, but for everyone we touch.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's, things like this, right? Like taking the time out to be on a podcast and speak to other women because we,
Yes.
hope that this is a valuable conversation. That's an example of that.
Hmm.
And, we try to think through what we do and how we do it, not just through how can we make money, right? Like everybody has to make money in a business. We all know that that's required, but I think we have enough businesses out there that have shown us what it looks like to center financial success over everything else. And we want to
Yes.
make sure that, we're a business that makes money, but also does good in the world. So,
Yes. Absolutely. That's so so important and so wonderful that your business mission is like driven by both of those things, and they're equal. Like it's not more one than the other.
Mhm.
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
try. We're not perfect and we don't always get it right,
Yeah.
but it helps when we do make mistakes that those really help guide us back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mistakes are what make us human. So,
Mm, amen.
yeah. Erin, do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I mean, not when it comes to that. I so appreciate, I think like having the framework as someone who, is not the head of the company, but works within the company, having the framework that actually really means something and that actually really does guide our decisions is just a really lovely way to get to show up. And it's permission giving for the folks who are inside of that too, right? Because like,
Yes.
I know how I operate. I mean, I'm going to show up how I'm going to show up as a human, anyways, because I just can't do it any other way. But I know that if I do something, Sarah's going to be cool with it because it matches our values? So, like, it,
Hmm.
it is really nice to have that kind of framework and to go, okay, great. Like, if I'm faced with making a decision or like, if there's some kind of conversation or something that's happening, if we're living in our values, like I'm great, like with that. And so it is really helpful, I think, when you have mission, vision, values, all of those things that actually really do mean something instead of just
Hmm.
our words on a page, because that is it's safety and it's freedom for the folks who you work with as
Mm,
well.
Yes,
mm,
absolutely. That's so so true and so important as well.
Mhm.
Um, Leading into that, how do you think the Start and Go and its courses empowers people to step into their power and build the life and business that they want?
Erin, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I think one of the things, that we focus heavily on is like getting people to kind of pause and go inward, which I do think is one of the things that sets us apart and makes us different in this industry, in this space, is like you've got to have a really good why, and each person's
Hmm.
why is going to be different. And figuring out what that is requires you to pause for a minute and to be a little introspective and get reconnected with like your heart and your dreams and like what you want to accomplish and all of those different things. And it's much easier for us, I think, to teach people, the how of it all and the skills of it all and like all of those things. And
Yeah.
it's much more uncomfortable, I think, for folks to be like, hold on a second. Like, I remember when I was a young mom for a while there, like,
Mhm.
asking people what they did for fun or what their hobbies were. Like young moms can have this moment of like, just, I don't know. Like I legitimately don't know because
Mhm.
nobody's asked them in so long and they don't have the time or space to like focus on that. And so I'm using motherhood as like an example, but I think that's true for a lot of people in a lot of different ways of like, we just get on this kind of like hamster wheel and we forget to check in even with ourselves. And so one of the things that I think that we do really well is ask people to pause and consider that,
Mhm.
and then also build businesses that work for their lives, and that meet their goals. There's a lot of nonsense in the online business space of like, well, like your goal is to make six figures, or your goal is this, or you got to do this, or you should do this. And like, we're not
Mhm.
about like any of that noise. Like, you get to build the business that you want to create for the
Yeah.
reasons you want to create it for. Like, that's it, like hard stop. So I think that's one thing that is really important that I would say about that.
Yeah.
So well said.
That's so yeah, like Sarah said, so well said. So um like intuitive and so understanding of like how difficult it can be to um like as you said, like pause and like go inward. Like because
Mhm,
today's world is like very fast paced and
mhm.
it's just like go, 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 go. And you're like, whoa, hold on a second. I just need to
Yeah.
stop. I need to take a breath and I need to focus on like what is happening in here. And
Hmm.
I think that plays a big role in our mental health too. Like um
Hmm.
I've noticed that like when I'm like super busy, like and I'm just like go, go, go all the time, I'm more like I get tired really easily. Like I get like emotionally and mentally exhausted and I don't want to do anything. And
Hmm.
so that's been like kind of something I'm working on is taking a step back from things so that I can like reset and recharge,
Yeah.
especially now that I'm a business owner. Like I need to like show up for my clients, but I also need to show up for myself. And if I'm like exhausted and burnt out,
Hmm.
none of us are gonna benefit from that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like the reality of the situation is too, you can learn all the skill. Like, you can learn all the things. Like, especially today, like you can
Mhm.
learn, anybody pretty much can learn anything they want to learn. So it's not usually a matter of that. It's a matter of those other things that you just pointed out of like, okay, when I am a business owner, how do I not create the hustle and grind and chaos that like was not working for me in whatever
Mhm.
space I'm coming from? And like a lot of people are, choosing this as a backup right now, or, as
Mhm.
something they're doing in conjunction with something else. And
Yeah.
so, like, the last thing you want to do is add something to your plate that isn't going to be conducive to, like what you are trying to bring it onto the plate for. And so,
Mhm.
just like really having that framework, as you said, of like, okay, how do I like evaluate as a business owner, like what this looks like, and, like
Yeah.
how I can make sure that I'm taking care of myself too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there was a time where I was like when I first started working from home, like during the pandemic, like where I wasn't taking care of myself and my mental health and my physical health really separated. So when I started doing this, I was just like, okay, I know what didn't work last time. I'm not going to do that again.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's how we learn, to your point.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Sarah, do you have anything to add before we move on?
No,
No?
I think exactly what you said though. It's like so often we're looking for ways to not make mistakes, but the honest truth is,
Mhm.
I'll speak for myself. I tend to learn better when I've made a mistake
Hmm.
than if somebody had just told me don't do this.
Yeah.
Um, and the point is not to be perfect, like Coach Beard said. And so,
Yes.
I think that's just a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What would you like people to know when they watch or listen to this interview about the Start and Grow?
Oh my gosh. Erin, I'm like curious what Erin would say. I'm gonna punt it to Erin and then I'll answer it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I think the main thing that I want people to know is that it is possible, right? I think a
Mm,
lot of people, especially today, are presented with a lot of options of different things they could do.
Hmm.
Um, and I think what I have learned and what I have seen over the last, 4.5 years of being in this role and helping support our students and community members is number one, a lot of times you get in what you put out, right? Number two, um, keep going because like a lot of people don't even try is the first step.
Yes.
But then some people try and they hit an obstacle and then they're out, right?
Hmm.
The way that you're going to achieve success and the way that it's going to work is if you keep going, because often I would say like 95% of the time, the breakthrough or the success comes like after that moment where you like throw your hands up and are like, well, like this didn't work or like that didn't happen how I thought it would or, whatever. Like there's always some kind of like breakdown moment and the breakthrough
Mm.
usually happens after that. And I know that's so like, cheesy and cliche, but like legitimately on this side of things, who has supported so many students, it's so
Yeah.
true. And so like I think if you're at all being like tugged by the idea of this, make an educated decision, but like also know that it is 100% possible. We see people like creating successful businesses and making this work literally every day. And if
Hmm.
you can be brave enough to try, and then after that, if you can be brave enough to continue to put yourself out there and to keep going, like you are likely to experience success in that. And again, like people's,
Mm.
like reasons for doing it and their goals are different. But that's the thing that I think, like, I really wish people knew. And like, worst case scenario, like you miss all of the shots that you don't take. And so like
Yes.
it's one of those things where like you don't know until you try and like worst case scenario like it may not work out exactly as you thought it would, but you still gained something invaluable in the process because you believed in yourself, you put yourself out there, you learned some things about running a business and
Hmm.
like what you want to create with your life and that's going to take you somewhere. So I
Yes.
think that's
Mm.
what I would say.
I love
Love
that.
that. Love that so much.
I
Um,
mean,
oh,
I've had so many failures too before, and I think so many
yeah.
people come, most people come to this work having had a failure at something else before,
Hmm.
this like need for more flexible work and kinder work and to work with people who treat you fairly and pay you fairly, like that's not new for
Mhm.
anybody. So people usually do come to it with a past failure. And I think so often if we can look at that, like, well, I know what didn't work. And so I can now
Hmm.
apply that and figure out, I think that's really helpful. I think I would also just say, like, I hope that people see what's possible. Erin said, like, I
Hmm.
hope you believe in yourself enough to try it. I hope you see what's possible. And I don't just
Hmm.
mean from the financial standpoint, because yes, it's so important, right? Like that is the thing. People have to be able to make money to make it a business, and that's what has to work.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but also like what's possible when you feel like you work with people who respect you? What's possible when you feel like you are being appropriately valued and not undervalued in your role? What's possible, when you get to learn new things and feel like you are appreciated instead of, yelled at or constantly micromanaged. Um,
Yes.
and I think like the financial piece has to be there, but at the end of the day, it's always about more for people. It's never
Hmm.
just about
Hmm.
money, if
Yeah.
it was only about money, don't start a business. Like
Yes.
there's stuff
Truly.
that's gonna, like there's things that you have to figure out. There's training, there's all of this. It's always got to be about something else too, because something didn't work. And I hope that people can
Hmm.
realize that, it is a whole lot more beautiful um, on this side if it's a fit for you, if you have the right skill set. But
Yeah.
there's a whole lot that this affords you besides just the financial piece.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's so, so, so true. And I was just gonna say, like, Erin, like your support, like when I was going through the start and I was like sending, like emailing you every day, like asking you questions, like the way you never shut me down or like weren't supportive meant so much to me because I have had people who weren't supportive and like basically told me to figure it out by myself.
Mhm.
And like your your support when I told you I'd signed up for the source and like what my reasoning for that was, like was just so like refreshing and appreciated because you saw me as a human being. Like you didn't see me as a number. So thank you for that.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. This all kind of is like related because back to Sarah's point, like it's so much for me about the freedom that I can create in my own life, right? But then also the impact, like like being in this role, getting to support people in this way really freaking matters to me, because
Mhm.
like I am someone who is so relationally driven and like
Mhm.
relationally connected. And so for me, yeah, like getting to do a job that just is in my nature is amazing, but that will always be the case with me because I really freaking care about like not
Mhm.
only my impact, but our impact and the way that that affects the people on the other side. Because Sarah and I have been there, right? Like we've
Yeah.
been in everyone's shoes who, is like brand new at like learning about this or trying to figure this out. Like we were there
Yeah.
too. And so,
Mhm.
I think everyone who's walked this road has this moment of like, that would have been really helpful to know sooner. Or like,
Yeah.
like when I was trying to figure this out, I wish someone would have said this to me. And so like
Mhm.
there's some that just comes from that experience. But like if we can make someone else's road a little bit easier, like absolutely we're gonna do that, whether you're in our spaces or connected to us or not. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
thank you for
that's
sharing that. That always is like, it's my favorite to get the messages, like the success messages and the just like, hey, thanks for seeing me as a human.
yeah.
Like it means so much when people reflect that back to us because again, like that's what we're here for. So it's
Yeah.
nice affirmation.
Mm.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so happy that I could do that for you.
Hmm.
Okay, my next question is how do people find out about the Start and Grow? Is it through social media, word of mouth, or is it a mix of both?
It's a mix of both. We get quite a few referrals, which for us is always so huge and beautiful. We love when that happens because it's a really good sign. It tells us that
Yes.
people believe in the work that we do and trust us enough to tell their friends and family about us, which is beautiful. But yeah, primarily
Mhm.
social media is the other way. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And how many referrals have you gotten through social media for the Start
Oh
and Grow?
gosh. I mean, I don't even, I couldn't even
I
look
don't
at a
know how
number,
we
but
would figure that out. Yeah, untold.
a lot.
A lot, a lot.
Yeah.
It's always fun though too because we do get people who are like, my best friend is so and so who told her neighbor and then, that person told this
Hmm.
Yeah.
person like there is like a lot of word of mouth that happens
Yeah.
too. I think because when people get frustrated and they're looking for something else, it's like what
Yeah.
happened with me. They're like, "Hey, did you know this thing existed?" Because
Yeah.
we want to share the things, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, like whether that's happening on social or like actually in person, it is fun to
Mhm.
like kind of figure out those like degrees of like, where did you come from? And like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
did that happen? So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see the Start and Grow in 5 years or 10 years?
Where do I see us? Okay, this is going to be a really boring answer, but I'm going to give you the honest answer. I
Hmm.
see us just where we are, like I think that our job is to do what we do and do it really well and keep going.
Hmm.
I think that after, doing this work, our course to start opened in 2019, and then we opened a membership program after that called The Source, which is for people who already have their VA businesses up and running. So either
Hmm.
you were a student of ours or, you learned how to become a VA some other place, and then you come to us because you want continuing support and community. Um,
Yes.
and like we've just tested and tried multiple things over the years, and we really just continue to come back to these are the two things that we do really well. So we should just keep doing these two things really well.
Hmm.
And so I think that's it. Like truly, it's just like we should just keep doing what we do really well and keep editing, keep tweaking, keep adding to what we do to make it even better and more impactful. But like this is it. This is what we do, and we just want to keep
Yeah.
doing it.
That's well, the like if you have something that you've tried and you know that it works, like it's worth it to keep doing that. And I don't think that was a boring answer at all. Like I thought it was like honest, and like you said, honesty is the best
Yeah.
policy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's like kind of a renegade answer for the online business space too, because I think
Yeah.
number one, sticking around in longevity,
Mhm.
folks pop up and disappear all the time in this space. And then also I think like it's like very squirrely over here. People are like, ooh, flashy thing over here. Ooh, flashy thing over here. Like
Yeah.
that effect is real. And people are always like, burn it down, start something new. Like, okay, now this is the thing. Now we're doing this,
Mhm.
And so to stay steady in the midst of that kind of environment actually is like pretty difficult to do. And like, I just appreciate that so much about us of like, we're like holding it down, with what we've always done.
Yeah.
And so, like, of course, there are things like you want to acknowledge and like ebb and flow and things like that. But like when your foundation is solid, like folks know what to expect from you, which I think is important
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Solid foundations are very much appreciated in a world where they're forever like shifting and changing. And if you just like have like a solid, like a rock solid foundation that doesn't change but like continues to grow, I think that's the best way to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, us too. And listen, we've made our fair share of we have had shiny object syndrome over the years. We have
Yeah.
tried other things that haven't worked. So I don't want to, I don't want to pretend like, well, we're just so good at, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been around long enough to get to the point where we're like, nah, we're just gonna do what we do really well and keep friggin' doing it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite masterclass that you've hosted in the source, do you think?
It's a good one.
Just to kind of piggyback off our conversation before, I'm gonna say like business values. We have a business values masterclass.
Hmm.
And again, it's like, especially for new folks that are coming into this space, the number one thing people want to know is how do I find clients? How do I make money? And
Yeah.
I get that. And I
Yes.
want that for everyone. And if we don't pause and set a solid foundation and think about these things, we only recreate whatever we just left behind because we only know that way of doing things, right? For so many of us,
Yes.
we come to this from the experience of employment and working for someone else. And we only know the way to be successful as an employee.
Hmm.
The way to be successful as an employee is
Yes.
very different from being successful as a business owner. And the whole point of
Hmm.
starting a business, in my opinion, is so that you can make it work better for your life. And
Hmm.
so I think that's where I love that because it really gives people the permission to think through what's important to them in the
Hmm.
business and then what's important in the way that they're showing up. And it removes the conversation around, the thing that everybody needs, which is money. We all know that. Like we know that it has to make money, but it's got to be something more. What would you
Yes.
say, Erin?
I think the ones that we create in response to what our community wants. So, like last year, there was a moment when a lot of folks were struggling, and there was a lot of like transition happening in the world and in the business space, and people were
Yeah.
just kind of floundering a little bit. And we said, you know what? Great. Like, we're going to have a bonus call and we're going to talk
Hmm.
through all the things and, like, do some hard like skills and mindset and things like that, but also like come with your questions, ask us, what you want to ask us, and we'll like help you work through this together.
Yeah.
So the ones that are in response to like what the community needs and is asking for are always my favorite. But then also too, we do a really fun one every year. We do a word of the year workshop at the end of every
Mm.
year, and that one's always really fun because you do get to hear what people's values are, what they want to focus on more, like for the upcoming year. And people's words are
Mhm.
so fun to hear and their reasons for why. And then, like, if they had a word the previous year, like what that actually looked like and what it taught them, because it's always different than what you think. And so I think it's just a really fun way to like get to know people, but also like kind of be in that container together and like hold that space for each other and
Yeah.
like as you have relationships with people, you can go, oh, hey, like, how's this showing up in your life? Or like, what's happening around this because they shared something vulnerable with you,
Yeah.
or like what
Hmm.
they're, focusing on. And you can always bring the conversation back to that, which just like builds deeper connections. So I think that those two are probably like the things for me. And then always like, I'm always just like, sure, we can do that. So we, like started book club and we started co-working
Yeah.
because people were like, hey, can we do this? And so
Yeah.
I think just creating those spaces and having times where we can give people what they want, like is always just
Hmm.
fun. It's delightful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I went to the Word of the Year masterclass in back in December and I absolutely loved it. And it's almost the end of January and I still have not picked my word for the year.
All good. Sometimes you
I
don't,
don't have one either. So that,
Okay.
like I
Yeah.
always do. And this is the one year I don't have one. So, it'll come to us when
Yeah.
when we're ready for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, just I'm very curious, what kind of books do you guys cover in the book club?
I mean, all sorts of different things. We've honestly read like quite a few romance books because, listen, they're light, they're fluffy, they're easy. A
Hmm.
lot of people are interested in them. But the thing about book club is like we have a lot of people who, they want to be readers, but they're not yet. And
Hmm. Yeah.
so I think having books that are short and fun and accessible for folks who like
Yeah.
want to get back into a reading habit is really
Hmm.
important.
Yeah.
The last book we read of last year was Burnout, by the
Hmm.
Nagoski sisters, which is, a book that we point back to all the time.
Yeah.
So incorporating, some of those like heavier, more important like learning topics sometimes too. But I think like for me, the purpose of book club is to make it fun and to help people
Hmm.
establish like reading habits. And so,
Yeah.
however, we can facilitate that. And the discussions have been really fun. And we read a book last year where the author was the cousin of one of the gals in the source. And she came on and I got to like ask her, we got to interact around the book. I got to ask her questions on Zoom, and she gave us like spoilers for the next book that hadn't come out yet and was
Ooh.
coming out. And I mean, it was just really fun. So, yeah, but it's always my goal to get more people reading. Read what you want, read what you like, read what's
Yeah.
accessible. Like, read for
Absolutely.
5, 10 minutes a day. But like,
Hmm.
that is my like, don't set yourself up for failure by like trying to dive into something that is going to be
Hmm.
trickier for you. Like you'll get there. Like, but I think for me, just like what are you going to enjoy? And
Yeah.
what makes for good discussion too? We honestly like we read a couple of books last year that I absolutely hated. And then, like
Hmm.
we read other books that I loved that other people hated, but that makes for like such fun conversation. And
Yeah.
like it's good for us to be able to disagree in like a safe, respectful way, right? Like so
Yeah.
I
Amen.
can totally appreciate that someone loves a book that I did not enjoy and we can talk about it and have a great discussion around it. And like we don't have to come out of that like having the
Hmm.
same opinion or having changed each other's minds, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that person
Yeah.
gets to like what they like and I get to like what I like and both are valid and like we can talk about it still.
Hmm.
So I think that's like a healthy space for that to happen too.
Oh, that's so awesome. I actually have like a group chat with my sister and my cousin because we all like to read the same books on Instagram.
Hmm.
So, and we've all read the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. Like
Hmm.
my sister just finished reading it and now she's like right in there. She's like sending memes, she's sending theories. But yeah, I totally agree, Erin. It's so much fun to like have people to talk about books with.
Hmm.
Um, like as I said, I'm a lifelong reader. Like I love reading so much. I uh studied English in university and I read so many books over the course
Hmm.
of my degree. But the and my sister said something over Christmas. She said it's really interesting talking to me about books because like I was like taught to like kind of pull back the layers of the book,
Hmm.
Mm.
like of the story and like see like what's underneath. And that's what I do in my blog posts about the books that I read too. Like I just finished the Off-Campus series by Al Kennedy. Like it's a romance series, and it's like light and fluffy at times, but it also deals with like real world issues. You know,
Hmm.
like there's rape, there's
Mm,
sexual assault, there's abuse, there's like everything you can imagine,
mm,
and like these are the kinds of books that like send a message to like talk like encourage like bigger conversations about these topics, like especially around consent and like having like healthy relationships, whether those are friendships or romantic or family. And
mm,
yeah, like those are my absolute like that's my favorite romance author now. Like I discovered
mm.
her like a year ago and I was like, I freaking love this author. It's
Love that.
so good. And she's also Canadian too. So
Yeah, there you go. Love it. Yeah. I think books, like giving us perspective, different perspective, like books, no matter what they are, will always give us someone else's perspective and the ability to step into someone else's shoes
Yeah,
and, think about things that we haven't thought about
oh,
before. And
yeah,
I think that's one of the really important things about books in general and reading for sure.
yeah.
well, guys, that's it for the third episode of the Empowered Pros and Ponders podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Sara and Erin are awesome. I had so much fun talking to them and working with them on this episode. And I hope to have them on again in the future. Have a great day and a great week, and I will be back soon. Until then, take care and be safe. Bye.